What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen, today I want to talk a little bit about Sofi Technologies Incorporated. This is ticker symbol SOFI, for those of you who are maybe not as familiar with the company or with the stock. And today was just flat out a very, very good day for Sofi. You can see we're up 7.95% on the day today, at least at the time of recording this video. Started out a little bit in the red, kind of dipped further, and then we hit the green and just kind of didn't stop from there, just going up and up and up and up. This is coming off of what was a really, really rough June for Sofi overall. You can see even after today being up 7.5 or whatever percent, in the past month, we were still down 15.52%. But hey, you'll take a good day from Sofi where you can get it. We take a look at the rest of the broader market. The Dow Jones was down about 0.5% today. S&P was a little bit green. NASDAQ was pretty green, up 1.75%, and the Russell was up 0.79% as well. So overall, pretty good day in the market. Definitely not bad, other than the Dow Jones, but it's not like the rest of the market was up this 8% or close to it that Sofi was up. So this is a lot of Sofi specific stuff, where it was, outperforming the market and outperforming the market significantly today, which is definitely some good news. Like I said, especially coming off of kind of a rough June. And that's not totally unexpected either. Whenever we see stocks or the market in general flying high, you're going to have those pullback days. And when you have a particular stock that's getting beat down, or kind of underperforming, it's going to have those days of bouncing back. Now, whether or not a stock or the market or whatever does good is going to be in the long term. Do they have more of those outperforming days or more of those underperforming days or whatever? But again, just in a vacuum, obviously this was a great day for Sofi, and we definitely have plenty to talk about as always. One of the first stories I want to talk about here was the Fool, Motley Fool, Fool.com, talking about here's why shares of Sofi fell nearly 30% in June. Because if we look, I believe I just looked at the S&P, and I think the S&P over the past month is actually up like 2%. Yes, 2022 has been a rough year, but June was kind of an interesting month. Stuff started to flatline a little bit. Stuff started to bounce back a little bit. Maybe, maybe we're not just going to keep going down forever. Now, I believe the S&P 500 was down like 6, 7, 8%. Something like that. But again, Sofi, we just saw over the past month is down like 15-some percent. For the Fool saying in June they were down 30%. There's obviously a disconnect between what's going on with Sofi and maybe the rest of the market. And there's a lot of things there. One, Sofi is obviously unprofitable. It's forward-looking. It's growth-oriented. It's all about the future. It's all about numbers, projections. There's a lot of uncertainty, and the market definitely doesn't love pretty much any of that right now. We're seeing a lot of those companies get hit really, really hard. But what the Fool has to say here is that investors are obviously concerned about a looming recession, which can be really painful in the consumer lending space. Obviously, Sofi, doing a lot of consumer lending. If people are needing to save more money, if they don't have as much money, if they're not making as many big purchases, taking out loans, if they don't even have as much in their savings or in their accounts or whatever, this is all stuff that's really going to potentially affect Sofi. Now, obviously, the hope is that Sofi will be able to make money in other ways, or that Sofi can, help their users or their members kind of offset some of the damage and stuff being done. But yes, on top of everything else going on, all the craziness in the market, there's also some things that are going to hit fintech. And again, an unprofitable, growth-oriented, future-looking fintech company specifically really, really hard. If we do end up going into a recession, depression, whatever, or even right now, even if there's fears of a recession or depression or whatever, that could mute the stock price in the short term and could really have a big impact on it in the long term. You also had this from ZDNet.com. Americans are stressed over their finances, but it's not the end of the world, says a Sofi survey. So yes, even though people are stressed about their finances, even though it looks like we might be going into kind of an unprecedentedly bad time over the next couple of months, years, weeks, who knows how long or when it's going to happen or whatever, if we're not already in it, this place is trying to at least say that, hey, maybe it's not the end of the world. And obviously they talk about a lot of the negative things going on. The S&P is down 20.6%. The NASDAQ is down almost 30%. Inflation is up from 7.5 to 8.6%. Interest rates have increased 125 basis points, and the price of Bitcoin, which was once seen as America's new hedge against inflation, is down 57.3%. There's so many nasty things going on. If you were invested, if you've been saving up, if you're invested, you've been hit hard. If you went for an alternate form of investment in Bitcoin, you've been hit hard. And if you were trying to save money, you've also been hit hard because inflation has just kind of ran you over and killed you. So assets have been bad, cash has been bad. People are just getting hit all over the place. And like they say, hey, Americans are stressed. But obviously, like I said, SoFi, is trying to do some things to help out. They go into this whole, what is SoFi doing? Obviously, one of the big things is that they are an industry leader in their APY for the SoFi checking and savings account. They recently raised to 1.5% interest for members who have direct deposit, and that's the highest rate available. The national average for savings accounts is 0.1%. And again, SoFi is at 1.5% with members who have direct deposit, and I do believe that is even for their checkings account, which is just a really, really big deal. That's obviously absolutely making them stand out, and this is absolutely something that I think already should have attracted a lot of people to SoFi, and I think it's something that will continue to attract people to SoFi, again, especially as we go through kind of a murky financial situation, but also as interest rates continue to climb. If interest rates keep going, like some people expect the Fed might do or something like that, SoFi might continue to raise their interest rates going forward in the future, but even at this point they don't need to. Kind of shows how gross and disgusting some other places are, for the fact that the national average is 0.1%. We have on the SoFi stock subreddit, we have the shareholder vote. This discussion is still going on. The shareholder vote is 5.5 days away, and some people talking about whether they're going to vote yes or no. This is obviously going, people talking about the reverse stock split, whether or not they want to vote on that. Obviously, SoFi is going to have that vote coming up, and that whole conversation discussion is not whether they're going to reverse stock split, it's whether or not they want to give the company the ability to reverse stock split if they do see fit. This is, the company being concerned about the stock price going too low. They're being concerned about not being able to get investments from, big money and stuff like that. People who won't invest in smaller stocks, they don't want to be seen as a penny stock. There could be potentially some benefits to a reverse stock split, but also reverse stock split has a very, very negative connotation surrounding it. And this vote is, getting here closer and closer. This is something that is going to be decided very, very soon. And people just, kind of the debate raging on of whether or not this should or shouldn't happen. Seems like there's a lot of people on both sides. I think at this point it's probably unlikely to pass. I think we will probably end up seeing more no's than yeses. And in my opinion, that's maybe the better call, but we'll have to see how that plays out, because that's definitely going to be a big story and definitely is going to affect the stock price in both the short and long term. And could be just something interesting to keep an eye on. We also have SoFi and their exposure to Blockfi. SoFi is listed as an investor of Blockfi, and Blockfi is going under. Are people worried about this? At least, from what this guy's saying. Top comment here, Blockfi isn't going under. Blockfi is being bought out by FTX. SoFi barely has any money in them either way, though. So obviously people on Reddit, at least some of the top comments on here, are not as concerned. And maybe, OP was a little misguided in this whole post. The other people saying, hey, it's a bank. Bad investments happen. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. They only invested a couple million. Either way, it doesn't seem like this will be too big of a deal, and also doesn't really seem like SoFi is going to be losing out too bad on this. Who knows exactly how much they're going to get out of this if SoFi gets purchased by FTX or whatever, but doesn't really seem like too big of a deal, so most people don't seem concerned about it. Apparently SoFi was mentioned on a top 5 stocks to buy in July. This is on NASDAQ.com, so some people are still looking at SoFi. They do say now not a lot of analysts here, just pointing out that it's trading under book value and growing quickly. Obviously SoFi, this stock is down. It's a crazy number year to date, 63% year to date. You see we are very, very close to the 52-week low still. There are definitely people keeping an eye on SoFi. Some people think the bottom's already been in. Some people think it's a great time to buy. Some people think it's extremely undervalued. Some people think it's even going to go lower. But obviously there are people who are definitely going to be picking this one up in July and think it's an absolute steal right now. And there's definitely people out there who still think it's maybe overrated or overvalued. And then just more talk about the reverse stock split. Can anyone explain why SoFi needs a reverse split? I mean, if they did the reverse split, then stock price drops again. This means we'll lose even more value. And it could not. But the top comment here explaining that the CEO came out to explain the rationale of the reverse split on a few occasions. And again, this is stuff that I've already covered in some of my videos and stuff, but still a lot of people don't understand this. And a lot of people even think that the vote is about whether or not they're going to reverse stock split, which again, to my understanding, that is not even the case. It is just whether or not they will, have the power, the ability to reverse stock split if they do so see fit. So just a lot of misinformation, a lot of kind of confusion out there, and it is a confusing situation. I don't really, fault people or anything like that, but I do want to, cover the stuff as well, and just letting you guys know that vote is coming up very, very soon. So overall, not a lot of news that specifically came out today that really give a reason for SoFi to be having such a good day. Again, I do think this is just, hey, the market overall had a decent day. SoFi's been kind of beaten down. They're going to bounce back strong. and we'll have to see how the rest of the week goes. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about SOFI. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.